Hey, this is John Carlos, and I'm here with a look at the long-awaited 6-scale Hot Toys figure of Drax the Destroyer from Guardians of the Galaxy. That was a look at the outer sleeve. Now here's a look at the inner packaging. Whee! There's a lot of good things about this figure. I mostly like it a lot. There's a lot of good strengths to it, which I'll get to in a moment, but we gotta address the main issue first, and that is he should be bigger. Like his chest, his body, it should be larger. If you look at his head and neck, and hell, you look at his waist, his chest should be huge. If you look at the movie, he's got bigger pecs than this. His dimensions, like his stomach goes out more, not just like in the front, but even like on the sides. Like this should be a bulkier body. In the stomach area, in the pectoral area, even in the shoulders a little bit. This is, you know, like a bigger physique than, say, like a Bruce Lee figure or something. But, so yeah, in that Hot Toy sense, it is kind of large, but it's not large enough compared to Dave Bautista's physique, because that dude is a beast, and this does not represent his beast-like physique. Yeah. And if you're an articulation junkie, you might miss the fact that there is no cut there for the abs. There's no little crunch. You don't have as much articulation in the arms. But that's what happens when you get like sleeveless figures, where you don't want to break up their skin with more articulation. And then this is a shirtless figure, so you don't get as much. It's more action figure-like. Personally, though, I like it, because when it comes to all the details of his chest, which I'll show you now, you don't want to break up this design with articulation. You want to really take in the paint and also the sculpt of it, because he did have textured tattoos in the movie, and Hot Toys has replicated that here really well, especially on the back, too. You have the nice, like, kind of like where the back meat kind of folds and wrinkles. They did a good job with that. But what's cool is, you know, they went with that design for the movie, but what we get to benefit from that as Hot Toys collectors and fans is that we don't just get a smooth figure with some cool paint, but we also get a cool texture to it. I know that's just a design choice for the movie, but I do think it makes for a really good toy, so bonus. Here's the look at his other arm. You just see the kind of skull, the flaming skull works and all that going down the sides. Really strong work. One little thing that bugs me is the skin tone for his head, his arms, his chest, and then it gets broken up by the little ball joint for the wrist. If that gray wrist ball joint just could have been the same color, it doesn't even need to have the speckling, you know, that texture. It just color match it. But speaking of which, I do think it's great that they did kind of speckle his skin tone so it's not just perfectly smooth gray. There is a lot of serious dotting. And while we're up here, let's just look at the head, because I think the head's pretty darn good, especially from several different angles. Like right here, it does look like Dave Bautista. It's not very expressive. It is a very calm head, a very neutral face, but when it comes to his eyes and his nose and his mouth, this is pretty good. I mean, you look at it from that angle, it totally looks like him. Do I kind of wish there was a more expressive version? Yeah, kind of. You know, he's not like yelling or anything in this one. It almost seems a little boring, but I kind of also like the fact that he does have a lot of calm moments in Guardians. Hell, 1 and 2. So I think it's fitting that we do get a little more subdued Drax here. But it does look good from like downward angles. Upward. It really reads well. The texturing on his face for his little face tattoos is awesome. The wetness of his eyeballs, the kind of calm in his eyeballs is really good. I like the paint on the lips. The sculpt of the space between his lips and nose is good. Here's a look at the back of his head. Really strong work too. You get a sense of all the speckling going along his dome there. But yeah, I dig this a lot. I mean, if I was a complainer, I would say that maybe if they included a second head where he's like laughing or yelling or something. But this is a good head. And speaking of good head, here's a shot of his crotch. Hey-o! So really, I just want to show you guys a better look at his pants, because there's a lot of really good details in here. You can see the light gray with the knee section, how it meets the darker gray, and I really, really dig these straps and the way they go across and through that thing and up and get twisted, and there's the little snap. Really strong work between all the different little textures, and I really like the belt. I think the other pants have like a cooler belt area, but still, these pants look really cool. I even like the sides here with the little strap and the little triangle thingy there, the texture going down the side. And then you get to the boots, which are freaking awesome. I love that these things really look like straps, like they look like fabric, but they're sculpted, and they're awesome. I like the little buckle going down them. And then you get to the bottom here, where the bottom of the shoe strap matches the side straps there. It's two different pieces, but it all feels very cohesive, so I think Hot Toys did a great job with that. I love the little rivets there on the side, and the front buckles look awesome. I'm a sucker for really good detailed shoes on Hot Toys. I don't care about shoes in real life, but I'm really impressed with them on Hot Toys. Also, these have the little knife holsters on the side, but one thing I've noticed as I've tried to put these in is that they kind of stop part of the way through, and it gets a little tight. I think it's because maybe it gets a little wider at the knee, but I don't like trying to force them, and I've tried this a few times, so I'm not going to jam them all the way in. Lord knows I've tried, and I get to about there. Here's a better close-up look at the two daggers he comes with. They have little plastic hilts, and almost, I think it's metal tips, and they're kind of pointy for toys, so if you got kids, keep these away from them. Or if you're like a clumsy adult, be careful with these. The blades look rad. I like the details on not only the little red paint on the blade, but the hilt itself has some nice little detail to it. So that's fun. The figure comes with a series of alternate hands, including open palm hands, because the main figure starts off with closed fists. We also get grip fists. Yeah, there you go. And then lastly we get his trigger finger hand, and that trigger finger is for this bazooka, which I'll start with a close-up look at the details of and zoom it along. I like it. I like the kind of brownish orangish paint there, gives it kind of a rusty feel. Some nice details to it right along here, the little wiring and whatnot. There's a look at it from the front. I like the little colored bulb right there, or its color inside underneath. I think it's a colored bulb, but yeah, I like the little viewfinder area, and I like the little kind of wear and tear with the kind of gray splotchy paint everywhere. Here it is in a slightly wider angle, so you can see it all in one shot. Isn't that lovely? This also comes with a pair of alternate wrist pegs, should those other ones not work out. And then there's another pair of pants, which I will put on the figure so you can see those in a moment, but first I'll show you the figure stand. Pretty basic figure stand. It's got the title and the character name on the front, same kind of surface as all the other ones in the series, and yeah, you just plug in the arm and there you go. First you got to take off the bottom section of the shoes and then the rest of the boot in order to take his pants off. There's a little Velcro under there, and then you just slide this off. There is like a little black padded outfit underneath. It looks like he's wearing little biker shorts underneath. It takes a lot to like slowly pull the pants up and then push the edges of the shorts down, but eventually I did manage to get his pants on. I do like that there is no snap for the belt. This is just a simple Velcro and that's it. If you get this figure, one thing that I recommend is when you take off the pants and you're about to pull on another pair of pants, take his shorts and pull them down a bit so that as you pull the pants up, the shorts right up with it at like a good level, because right now I got this sort of edge sticking out, and if I'd pulled them down lower in advance I probably wouldn't have that. Now look, the details on this are freaking great. Look at the different textures there. The burgundy versus like the lighter burgundy for the rest of this. The gray sections that are kind of, it's not paint, but it's definitely a texture to it that's going down. The knee pads look great. I love the kind of texture to those as well. Here's just a closer look at those. Awesome, awesome, because there's like a mixture of different fabrics going on, and I like this plasticky thing going on the side. And I also dig the Ravager logo there on the side, and it's, I think, like a gold paint. I don't know, it's not fabric, but it's kind of smooth. I like it. It's kind of plasticky. And look, there's even like a little pattern there on the section along his butt. So that's a really fun little pattern. Yeah, this figure rocks. Here's a just a bigger shot of it right there with him with the little bazooka, so you can see him kind of posed in that position there with it up. One thing worth noting with the articulation on this, with anything, you know, you get the little shoulder joints in a figure where the arm can lift up and down. Aside from just the actual ball joint, it can kind of lift a little bit. It can kind of leave a little bit of a gap there. That might bother some people. It doesn't really bother me though, because it seems like something you might deal with you know, with an action figure, which I'm used to collecting. So this, I don't know, even for a high-end thing, that little tiny gap doesn't bother me too much. But I think he looks rad holding the bazooka. You know, he doesn't use it that much in the movie, but it's nice that they included it. And I do like just kind of simple power stances with this figure. Now, the first Guardians movie came out in 2014, and then pre-orders went up for the Rocket and Gamora and Star-Lord. I got Star-Lord in March of 2015. That was the earliest one I got, and then later that summer I got Gamora and Rocket. Pre-orders for Drax didn't come up until, gosh, the following year in 2016. And then I just got him now in June of 2017, after Guardians 2 has come out a full 3 years after the first one. That might be a problem for some people. Me, I don't really care. I have patience. I order it, I wait, it arrived. Not really a big deal for me. But if you are someone who was excited and didn't like to wait, I would like to think that the wait was worth it, because this figure's pretty awesome. I really like the likeness of Bautista. I think they did a great job with Drax's face. I like the fact that you get 2 different pants, so that's rad. And the work on both pants is really good. They have a lot of good detail and like texture to them, so that's awesome. The boots look awesome. The sculpt of his body looks great. If you're an articulation junkie, you might be a bit disappointed. I think, though, this is great. I love that he's got the knives. He's got pretty good posability, despite the limitations of like bicep cuts and, you know, a mid-torso cut and that sort of thing. But I do like the simple kind of, not dead-eyed, but like calm demeanor of his face. It really does suit that simple, you know, like, I will kill you kind of look to his face. This figure looks rad. As a fan, I don't see how you wouldn't love it. Just for the texture on his chest and the tattoos alone, it looks great. So yeah, I like this a lot. Thanks for watching, everybody, and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all that crap.